Hi, everybody. Welcome into Pugs Moran Live, the high noon edition. Sorry for the late start today, about 5 minutes late. I was on the phone with my debit card people. Yeah, there was something on there that it's taken care of. It's fine, but I had to. I was on hold. I was on hold for like a half hour. Hi, Dustin. How are you? And that explains it. That's why. And no more details. Everything's fine. It's just, oh God, I hate when they make mistakes. I'm like, this is not right. And they're like, oh, we're sorry, we'll fix it. So there we go. Okay, welcome into the High Noon Show. This is the first of two streams that I do each and every day. This one, High Noon, we cover current events, trending topics, headlines, anything that people are talking about. We try and give you a quick little cheat sheet rundown for all the things that people are blabbing about today. Also, we do a second one. We call that Pugs and Parker, and that comes on at 9 p.m. Central Time. All time Central Time. Central Time is the right time. We do all things in Central Time today. Sorry, a little distracted by what I'm seeing on the TV over here. That's more conversational. Pillow Talk at 9 o'clock is more conversational. Both Parker and I, we prepare things to throw at each other, but that show's about building chemistry. That show's about working through, trying to get comfortable with one another, seeing where the chemistry will go. And, more times than not, we just follow rabbits down the rabbit hole, as they say in radio. You have things you plan on talking about, but then organically certain things pop up and you end up running with that. Like last night, I think we spent 20 minutes talking about comedians who took dramatic turns in movies. That's what happens. Sometimes it's, people who date a lot of hot-looking girls. That happened once. A couple weeks ago, we spent a good half hour just talking about Russian mail-order brides. See, those are all organic things that we think, oh, this is interesting. Let's have a conversation about this and see where it goes. This is more structured. High Noon is more structured. I prepare all morning long to bring you all the day's news and all the day's headlines. So let's get started. Today, what about today? Well, today is February. It's Thursday, right? Yeah, it's Thursday. God, the weeks, they just fly by so fast. Today is Thursday, February the 10th. It is the 41st day of the year. There are 324 more days remaining until the end of the year, so get those New Year's plans all sold up. Sold up? Short up, I believe is the word. Still nursing a cold. I've had a cold this week. Feeling great. Just remnants is what we're dealing with now. Feeling 100% better than I did 2 days ago, and a good 20% better than I did yesterday. So, and I'm liking the way my voice is sounding. My voice has a little bit of bass to it when typically it's high, and it's it's a little bit down. That's good. I'm feeling good. Okay, stop talking about yourself. Your internal monologue does not have to be brought on the air. Stream. This is a stream. Don't correct me. All right. Hey, let's get started with a moment of joy. We like to start each and every day out with a moment of joy, a little something to put you in a good mood. Here's something that should put you in a good mood. And I should also say that we owe one of y'all a little. This comes to us from April, who, by the way, there are any number of things that I could thank April for, but I want to thank her for providing me with this moment of joy, because quite frankly, there wasn't going to be one today. I was on the phone. I didn't have time to really look. And then just before I came on the air, I went to my Twitter notifications, and I saw that she had sent this to me. So this comes from April. By the way, feel free to do that. If you follow me on Twitter, you can just Google search Pugs Moran on Twitter. You'll find me. I think I'm the only one. I hope I'm the only. You'll know me when you see me. So you can send, or you can even send it to Facebook, I guess. I don't check Facebook much. I gotta start checking Facebook. I just don't like Facebook. There's so much ookiness with Facebook, but I recognize that I need to get involved in Facebook more, and I probably also need to get involved more with the Insta, as the kids call it. But I'm having a problem with my Instagram. Apparently, over the years, I have, like, on 3 separate occasions, started Instagram pages and then forgot that I had started an Instagram. So I've got like 3 pages, and I don't know which is my official page. Some of them are hooked up to, like, the biggest one that I have is on an email that I don't even have anymore. So So I just want to delete all my Instagrams and just start all over fresh and probably do that. Yeah, you're not going to make it with just, a YouTube and a Twitter presence. Okay. All right. Yes, that has been explained to me. So thank you to April for sending today's moment of joy, but also thank you to April. I believe it was April who pointed out yesterday during the High Noon Show that I'd been sitting here like a dummy waiting for the new season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And guess what? She told me, she's like, hey, it's out. It's been out for a couple of weeks or so now. It's been on Hulu for a bit. It's only 8 episodes, and the episodes without commercials are only 20 minutes each. And now I have It's Always, and now we reset the clock and I wait for season 16 because I ripped through all 8 episodes, 20-minute episodes. It was only like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. Yeah, something. Come on, have confidence in your math. 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I watched the whole 15th season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I can report confidently that it's still great. There has been no drop off. It's still great. God, I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So funny. Okay, so let's get to the moment of joy. Yeah. Well, how about you get to the moment of joy? How about you stop being a jerk and just get to the moment of joy? Okay, here you go. No sound because it's got music in it. And we don't want to have this video banned from YouTube for using unlicensed music. So here you go. Moment of joy. Look at the kids on a slide. Oh, look at this guy coming. Look at this guy. Oh, he's liking the slide. Oh, that's a gorgeous animal, isn't he? Look at him. He's all in shape. Don't judge dogs the way you judge women. I don't judge women, first of all. Why you care if the dog's in shape? It's a good-looking dog. Look at that guy. He's happy. He's going down this. Here he comes again. Oh, boy. I had a husky who used to like slides. And I always thought that was interesting because he would climb up the steps of the slide and then he'd go down the slide. And sometimes if we saw a slide, excuse me, sometimes if we saw a slide that didn't have navigable steps for the dog, he would just like kind of pant back and forth and like let me know that, hey, I want to go down that slide. And I'd have to carry him up. And he was like 80 pounds. He's a husky. And I just put him on the slide and he'd go down. This is not all that rare, but it is fun to look at. It is nice. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's like, oh, this is awesome. Oh, what's happening? Okay, let's do it again. Hey, all right, I'm following this guy. And now he's going to run back up the steps. All right, thank you, April. That's your moment of joy for today. There was music that accompanied that, but couldn't play the music because, she says, I just love that the dog is carrying his own leash. Dogs are awesome. I just love dogs. Not real happy with the compound dog that we have here. I tell you all the time about CeeLo, the Catahoula, who I spent a good amount of time yesterday pondering if CeeLo, our dog, although we love her, there are problems with her. She's aggressive. I was wondering, like, can dogs be insane? Like, can dogs be like, we always say that dog's nuts. No, but I mean, like, really insane. Like the way people are a bit schizophrenic, because this dog is kind of schizophrenic. And I watched her for a good 10 minutes yesterday in the backyard, running around in circles, running the fence line of the compound, back and forth, barking nonstop. For like 10 minutes, and just running back and forth. And here's the problem. There was nothing for her to be barking at. There was nothing. There were no squirrels. That's something that triggers her. There were no workmen. There was nothing. There was my son and I a couple of weeks ago. She was barking out in the backyard and we're looking out the window at her. And I go, what is she barking at? And my kid looks at me and he goes, Dad, she's barking at an airplane. And we looked up and there was like an airplane because we're in the flight path of Love Field. And there's an airplane going overhead and she's barking at the airplane. Well, I think she's nuts. And I don't know that that's going to bode well for her future. I mean, I love her. Don't get me wrong. I love her and her dog dad loves her. And we all love her around here. But as we learned last night, James Parker has stayed at this house twice and he's been bit by her twice. Once in the foot and once in the hip. And you can't have that. I don't understand. She chooses. Certain people can just walk in the house and she's totally cool. And then other people walk in the house and she's like, I don't like this guy. I don't know. Workmen, pool guys, landscapers, she goes nuts. James Parker, she goes nuts. My kid, she's fine. Emil's kid, she's fine. She likes them. She plays with them. She lays down. She's subservient to them. That's good. We want that with the kids. E's wife loves her. I don't know. I don't know if dogs can be crazy or not. My son has a Frenchie that knows how to skateboard. Well, that's a fun fact from Jeff Glenn, who's adopted a new personality for the chat room because apparently he's been banned for bad behavior from Facebook. So now Jeff says absolutely dogs can be insane. We had a peekaboo when I was a kid who was a complete psycho. Well, no, I know, like we snap diagnosed dogs because they act, like dogs. But I mean, are they really crazy? He would sit in the corner of a room facing into the corner and bark at the corner of the ceiling. And he bit everyone in the family. And maybe see, is it a thing with like purebred dogs? Like, they interbreed these animals just to get like the pure breed and all that stuff. And, the stories about the puppy mills. And this is why you should buy a mutt, because mutts are always the best dogs. Maybe it's just the pure breeds that are a little bit crazy. My husky was mixed with wolf, and she was not crazy. She was just high maintenance. And there's a difference there. Like, she didn't bite people, although she did kind of. I don't want to get into that story. She didn't like when I brought girlfriends home. She didn't like that. Sometimes she would get jealous, but I don't think that's crazy. I just think that she was a loyal woman dog. But the purebred dogs, they're like the royal family. They're like, a little bit nuts. And the one that we have, CeeLo, we think she's a purebred Catahoula because she meets every standard of the breed. And the vet has said, yeah, she's definitely Catahoula. But she wasn't like purebred. Like, they don't breed that she's just like a swamp dog. Like, she just comes from a long line of like Louisiana hillbilly swamp dogs. And so I don't know, maybe she's got something else in it. I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely worried that my dog's nuts. Hi, Jen. Jen's here. Albert's here. April's here. Jeff's here. We all the people here that I see. Byron. I don't know. I got to set this over. All the regulars. Do we have my regulars? Got Byron. We got Dustin. We got everybody. All right. Yeah. As you check in, say hello. I need to know that everybody's present and accounted for. All right, so let's get into what makes today, February the 10th, so important. Hi, Ed. Ed with a comment on CeeLo. Ed knows CeeLo. I love C, but I have maintained from day one that her previous owners were giving her away for a reason. We're starting to see that. Yeah. Ed is not wrong. But she was in an apartment and she was still a puppy and, she's still young. So maybe she'll calm down. Maybe she'll turn into a cool old lady. But right now she is just, man, she is troubling. She's got a big yard. She runs around. Hi, Leslie. All that stuff. All right, so let's talk about what today is. Why is today monumentous in the history of the world? Well, on this day in 1923, happy birthday to all you Red Raiders out there. Texas Tech University was founded as the Texas Technological College in Lubbock. So there you go, Red Raiders. One of the first things I ever did as a full-time radio producer, I was sent down to Lubbock, Texas, to cover you. There was an incident. This is probably in 96, maybe 95, 96, for football games. Like, the horse comes charging out of the tunnel, and there's like a dude dressed as a Red Raider on the back of the horse. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do it back then. And the horse comes charging out of the tunnel before the game. And this particular game coincided with a local car dealership that gave away free Frisbees to like 30,000 people. So, of course, people before the game were throwing the Frisbees around, and a bunch of Frisbees ended up on the track where the horse comes charging out. And the horse's hoof hit a Frisbee on the cobblestone. It's already a precarious jaunt for the horse. And the horse's foot hit a Frisbee and the horse bailed and broke its leg, and they had to put the horse down, and there were big like PETA protests, and everybody was going crazy about it. So I went down there. I went down there for the morning show I was working on. That, to me, now that I think about it, I remember like what they paid me and what they paid the rest of the producers and all that stuff at that station. And, you know, they were always crying poor, but they sent me like a hotel. I had meals taken care of. I had a per diem for the day and a half that I was down there. They airfare. They had money for stupid shit like that, but they couldn't pay the people who actually kept that radio station running a livable wage. Yeah, that's radio. That's radio for you. You know what? You probably have that same complaint in any job. That's just corporate America for you. On this day in 1962, during the Cold War, captured American U.S. spy plane pilot Gary Powers was exchanged for captured Soviet spy Rudolf Abel. This is where the band U2 gets their band name from. The incident with Gary Powers, who was piloting an American U2 spy plane. That's where the band U2 gets its name from. On this day in 1967, the 25th Amendment of the United States is ratified. Quick, you constitutional scholars, what's the 25th Amendment? Well, we kind of know the 25th Amendment because we've been hearing a whole bunch about it. 25th Amendment is it deals with like presidential replacement, succession, and what you do if the president is disabled, be it coma, surgery, or the president goes a little crazy. It's 25th Amendment. It'll probably never be used because if it hasn't been used in the last few years, it ain't never going to be used. I mean, although they're trying to force that narrative with Biden, the whole he's senile. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. If you couldn't get the last guy, I don't know how you're gonna get this guy, because both our last two presidents have seemed like we could have a conversation about the 25th Amendment. Nothing but the best. We get nothing but the best in this country. In 1996, on this day, the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue defeated a former Russian, now an American, chess champion Garry Kasparov in a chess tournament for the very first time. So there you go. It was the first time they went, oh, computers are smart. Yeah, no duh. No human brain can work as fast as a computer. I'm sorry. That's why they're going to eventually take over. Birthdays. Oh, we got birthdays. Let's do some birthdays on this day. Born on this day in 1930, American actor, producer, and probably wife killer, Robert Wagner was born. Robert Wagner, born on this day in 1930. Heart to heart for my generation, but for other generations, older generations, boomers. He was a movie star and kind of a sex symbol. And but then he has 1930s. That's 70, 89, 92. Ooh, 92 years old for Robert Wagner. They ain't gonna put him in jail. If they haven't put him in jail yet for the murder of Natalie Wood, because they keep going back to that thing. Like, okay, tell us again, Robert, how she died. Excuse me. This could be a problem. I'm a domino sneezer. That means I don't just sneeze once. When I sneeze once, I have to sneeze like 10 times. So we'll try and muscle through this without me. Robert Wagner. I met Robert Wagner once. He was not once, multiple times. There was like a period of time over the course of a month in like 1997 when Robert Wagner and Kevin Costner and I want to say Gary Player, the golfer, opened up a restaurant in Chicago called the Clubhouse. And Robert Wagner came into our morning show one morning to promote the Clubhouse, and he was only supposed to be on for like a half hour, and he stayed for the entire show. And then it was like, well, since you're in town for a couple of weeks, he was in town for a couple of weeks. So since you're in town for a couple of weeks with this opening, feel free to drop by anytime. The dude came by like 5 more times just to hang out and have coffee and talk. And I got to tell you, maybe he did kill Natalie Wood, his wife, on that boat with Christopher Walken that fateful night back in 1980. Maybe he did. But I'll tell you, that is a charming son of a bitch. That guy, he was wonderful. I was the exec producer of that show, so I had to take the phone calls from him. Hey, I was thinking about stopping by. Mr. Wagner, we'd love to have you. Always an open chair for you. And he would just come and hang out. He was like a sidekick on the radio show for couple of weeks. So I like Robert Wagner. He might be a wife killer, though. I don't know. He might not. And if he's not, then I feel bad because he was like a really nice guy, a really charming, like just looked like $1 million too. So that if he's 92 now, 82, 70, he was probably in his late 60s then. He was still Robert Wagner walk in. It's like, yeah, that's a handsome guy. That's a dude that's holding together well. Born on this day in 1955, a guy who I can't believe isn't in prison yet. American television personality, pundit, and author Jim Cramer. Mad Money! How is that guy not violated a whole bunch of SEC rules and regs? I don't get that guy. He's like a crazy man. He's like, he does his show, if you've ever seen Mad Money. I don't even know if that's what it's called anymore. That's what it used to be called. He's like, okay, this is serious financial stuff, but I'm going to present it like it's wrestling. And he's like nuts and he's running around. I don't know. Yeah, happy birthday, Jim Cramer. Got to believe that you're going to end up in jail at some point. Born on this day in 1961, George Snuffleupagus Stephanopoulos. Happy birthday, George Stephanopoulos, American television journalist. What does he host? ABC's whatever. Yeah, Sunday morning show now. He wasn't always a journalist. He was Clinton's press secretary or communications director or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. He started out, he was like one of the young hot shots that came in with the Clinton administration, and then he turned into a TV guy. Now he's a TV guy. Born on this day in 1962, Cliff Burton. Y'all know who Cliff Burton is? Cliff Burton was Metallica's original bassist. That he might not have been the original. I don't know. I think he was because he died. He died in 1986. And you hear a lot of metalheads always sing the praises of Cliff Burton. You still see like metalhead dudes walking around with Cliff Burton t-shirts. Cliff Burton died. He was the bassist for Metallica. I think Master of Puppets might be like the only like major recording that he was on, but hey, it's a good one. Master of Puppets. If you're going to be on one Metallica album, Master of Puppets would probably be the one. That's one of the great albums of all time, boy. And I'm not even a dyed-in-the-wool Metallica fan, but that album, woo, when I was in college, oh boy, you bust out the Master of Puppets, people gonna start fighting. That was fighting music back then. He died in how do you think Cliff Burton died? Oh, drug overdose? No. Cliff Burton died in 1986. It's his birthday today. He died in a very non-rock and roll way. In Sweden, on the Damage Inc. tour in support of Master of Puppets, the band members of Metallica complained that the sleeping cubicles on their tour bus were unsatisfactory and uncomfortable. Now, this is very much like the Day the Music Died thing, where they had the coin flip to determine who got the last seat in the airplane. To decide who received the pick of the bunks in the tour bus, Kirk Hammett and Cliff Burton drew playing cards. On the evening of September 26, 1986, Burton won the game with an ace of spades. Ace of spades! Thereby getting the first choice of bunk. Burton turned to Hammett and said, "I want your bunk." Hammett then responded, "Fine, take it. I'll sleep up front. It's probably better up there anyway." Burton was sleeping shortly before 7 a.m. on September the 27th when, according to the bus driver, the bus skidded off the road and flipped onto the grass in Kronoberg County, Sweden. With no safety restraints present, Burton was thrown violently through the window of the bus, which then fell on top of him, killing him instantly. Ooh. That's either not at all rock and roll or very rock and roll. I guess it just depends on your definition of what a rock and roll death is. Overdose is like probably the number one rock and roll. Tragic bus accident. That's probably number two. So I guess it is even in my own definition, that's a rock and roll death. Born on this day in 1963, an absolute lunatic of a man, but one hell of a ball player, Lenny Dykstra. Lenny Dykstra's a lunatic. He played for the Mets, played for the Phillies, always had a gigantic jaw dip in his mouth. He was a hustler, though, man. That dude, Lenny Dykstra, he played ball hard every single time. He was a hardcore baller, boy. But he's nuts. But he's also a hardcore old man now. He's crazy nuts. Speaking of crazy nuts, born on this day in 1964, Glenn Beck, American journalist. I mean, I guess. American journalist, producer, and author. Doesn't say broadcaster. That's interesting because I wouldn't call him that either. Glenn Beck, born on this day in 1964. He's crazy. He's looking more and more like Colonel Sanders these days. Have you seen him? He's got a very dead-on Colonel Sanders look. Born on this day in 1966, Daryl the Moose Johnson. Huh? Local boy. Well, I don't know if he's local, but he'd get cowboy. Moose Johnson. Happy birthday, Moose. I met Moose once. Moose was nice. Born on this day in 1966. Born on this day in 1967, Laura Dern, who is, of course, Bruce Dern's daughter. Laura Dern, born on this day in 1967. Also born on this day in 1967, Vince Gilligan, American director, producer, and screenwriter, television showrunner. He, of course, created Breaking Bad. He's good. He's good. Born on this day in 1974, Elizabeth Banks. Elizabeth Banks, the rare, staggeringly beautiful female actress who can also do comedy. I love her. Born on this day in 1989. I normally wouldn't mention this because, but whatever. But he's my guy. How about the South Slider out of Liam Hendricks? He's my closer on my baseball team. Best closer in baseball, if you ask me. Liam Hendricks with that unhittable South Slider. Born on this day in 1989. Emma Roberts, daughter of Eric Roberts, niece of Julia Roberts, also a damn fine young actress. Emma Roberts, born on this day in 1991. Born on this day in 1997. Another actress, and I only included this because I got a weird kind of thing going on with her. Chloe Grace Moretz, who is a young actress. She's 97, so she's 25 today. I remember her when she was a little kid, and she was such a cute little girl. She was like a child actress. And then, I just lost track of her because I didn't watch a lot of things that were geared towards kids. And then she came back, she like grew up, and then she's doing like all of these like naughty sex scenes. And I'm like, I'm uncomfortable. What? I'm not. This is, she's attractive. So but whoa, I still think she did a movie. Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm going to take a second here. I'm going to talk about this movie that she did. She did a movie that I really enjoyed. And don't say the movie. Don't say who made the movie. Oh man, this is it's such a weird movie, but I enjoyed it. It was good. And it was supposed to have been widely supported by the studio, and it should have been a much bigger movie. But unfortunately, all the theaters banned it, and then went like straight to video, I guess, or straight to digital, whatever you want to call it. It was the unfortunate Louis C.K. film that came out the week that he was getting canceled. So they pulled all the support from this movie where Chloe Grace Moretz played Louis C.K.'s daughter, and Louis C.K. essentially played a version of himself, although it was more like he was playing a Woody Allen type because he was like a film director and all this stuff, and she was his daughter. And I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was really interesting. It felt like a Woody Allen film. And I like Woody Allen films. Oh, you like Woody Allen? That guy? Don't get me started on the whole Woody Allen thing, okay? Separate the art from the artist. I love his movies, okay? I can't be a hypocrite and all of a sudden go, I didn't like Annie Hall. Yeah, I did. I really did. Yeah, I didn't like Stardust. Yeah, no, I really did. I didn't like Bananas or Take the Money and Run. No, I really did. I liked all of those movies. I didn't like Crimes and Misdemeanors. No, I did. I like all of Woody Allen's movies. Not all of them. Some of them are a little bit. I didn't like Zelig. No, I did. I liked Zelig. So this movie kind of reminded me of a Woody Allen movie, and I watched it knowing full well, you're not supposed to support Louis C.K. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's available, and I'm just gonna watch it. It was good. I liked that movie. I liked that movie because it was really made me feel ooky. The movie was called I Love You, Daddy. And you got to pronounce it. You got to make sure you say it that way because there's a comma in there. It's not I Love You, Daddy. It's I Love You, Daddy. Which was... Louis C.K. was a father who was having difficulty with his daughter growing up and turning into this beautiful young woman and dating other guys. And he was very protective. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. There was like some incestuous undertones with this movie. I Love You, Daddy. It was just, So anyway, if you can distance yourself from whatever your beliefs are about Louis C.K. and you can be consistent in acknowledging that the guy's show, Louis, was a tremendous show. It was terrific. I mean, it was really groundbreaking and interesting, and he did different things with the half-hour comedy medium. If you can acknowledge those things and distance yourself, see the movie. It's a good movie. It's not a shitty movie. Like it gets terrible reviews and all that, but because he was being canceled, so nobody wanted to say anything good about him. So happy birthday, Chloe Grace Moretz. We had a couple deaths on this day too. We'll run through these really quick. On this day in 2000, Jim Vardy. Hey, Vern! Jim Varney died. American actor, comedian, and writer. Ernest of the Ernest films. He died. 2008, Roy Scheider died. We're going to need a bigger boat. Was he the guy who said that? Wasn't he the chief of police in Jaws? Yeah. Also, dead on this day, 2014. Nobody mentions this girl when we all talk about how, child stars, they never do anything later in life. On this day in 2014, Shirley Temple died. Shirley Temple was like the first major American child star. I'd say she went on to do a lot of stuff. I mean, not as an actress, but as like a politician and as a diplomat. And, she did some stuff. 2019, a total train wreck of an individual, Jan Michael Vincent. Airwolf, right? Wasn't that the show he was on? Or was it Blue Thunder? I don't know. It was one of those shows he was on with a helicopter. But Jan Michael Vincent died on this day in 2019. And this dude, boy, was this guy a train wreck. He was like, he was on his way to being like a huge star. He was like the Tom Cruise of 1972. And he was such a train wreck of an individual. He's had like 20 car accidents. He's had like a dozen DUIs. He was a drunk. He was a chronic alcohol abuser, intravenous drug user, really good looking guy, like really good looking. People like, oh yeah, Michael Vincent, he's good looking. And then after all of his car accidents, he had like facial reconstructive surgery. So that by the time he was like in his 40s, he looked so weird. Like his face was all busted up and he just looked gross. And also, fun fact, he was married 4 times, accused of beating the hell out of all 4 wives. All 4 wives. There's the guy. He beat up all of his wives. When the first one does it, maybe you can defend yourself and go, hey, it's just a one-time thing. And then when you get divorced from the second time because you're beating the shit out of her, and then the third time, and then the fourth. Jan Michael Vincent died on this day in 2019. Total train wreck of a dude. Not a train wreck of a dude, although I guess that depends on how you feel about him. Died on this day 1 year ago today, which I'm shocked by because I thought he died like 10 years ago. But Larry Flint, American publisher, First Amendment advocate, sexual freedom activist, Larry Flint. I met Larry Flint once in the 1990s. He came into a radio show to do an interview, and here's all I'll tell you about Larry Flint. He had a gold-plated wheelchair. His wheelchair was all gold, and as I'm walking down the hall with him and his handler, I go, "That's a pretty snazzy. That's a." Okay, so here's the quote exactly. "That's a pretty snazzy wheelchair, Mr. Flint. That's pussy money, my friend. Pussy money." Like a guy, Larry Flint. He does not disappoint. Turned out to be a nice guy, though. He was conversational and all that kind of stuff. It was a good interview, as I remember it. Larry Flint died on this day 1 year ago today. What is today the national day of? Before we get into all the topics that are trending. February 10th is National Giving Hearts Day. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to spend any time on it. It's also National Cream Cheese Brownie Day. Ooh. For a guy on a diet, that sounds good. Cream cheese, when you make sweets with cream cheese, oh, it's delicious. I love cheesecake. I love like cream cheese whips with sugar and I don't know that I've ever had a cream cheese brownie, but I imagine that's delicious. So go get yourself one. What is this? National Home Warranty Day. Oh, shut up. That's stupid. And it's also National Umbrella Day, but it doesn't appear from the looks of the sky like we're going to need one here in North Texas. Hey guys, guess what? I didn't domino sneeze. I've been sort of keeping track of that the last few minutes. I did not domino. I had one sneeze and that's it. I think that's like mental power. I think that's because I knew that I needed to talk, and so I was sort of involuntarily stifling the urge to sneeze. But if I was just sitting around watching TV, I'd have sneezed like 40 times already. Jeff Glenn says, I prefer a cream cheese Danish over a cream cheese brownie. I don't know. I've never had a cream cheese brownie, but yeah, cream cheese Danish is fantastic. Anna Morena says, Chloe Grace Moritz is also a good child actor who became a good human. Yeah, as I said, I remember as a little kid, and she was so adorable, and I guess I liked her because I see a lot of adorable kids, but I don't necessarily remember them when they grow up and go, oh, that was the kid from. Okay, let's talk about what's happening here in the news. What is trending? A lot of stuff is trending. Let's get to it first. Some of these things we talked about last night because they broke last night, but they are still trending today. Bob Saget's death cause has been revealed. Bob Saget died in a very sad way. Bob Saget's cause of death was head trauma in the hotel. This according to the family and the medical examiner. Family of Bob Saget says the comedian died. Sorry, pop-ups. Family of comedian Bob Saget say that he died of head trauma 1 month ago in his Florida hotel room. A statement from Saget's family released Wednesday shared the conclusion from the medical examiner's office investigating the January 9th death of America's Funniest Home Video host and Full House star. The Orange County chief medical examiner corroborated the family's statement Thursday. Now that we have the final conclusions from the authorities' investigation, we felt it only proper that the fans hear those conclusions directly from us, the statement sent by Saget's longtime publicist Michael O'Brien said. The authorities have determined that Bob passed from head trauma. They've concluded that he accidentally hit the back of his head on something, thought nothing of it, and went to sleep. No drugs or alcohol were involved, the statement said. Now, this is interesting because yesterday, I got to take this off. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit warm. Yesterday, when we were talking about Anthony Johnson, the Fridays and House Party star comedian, Def Comedy Jam, he was also on that show. He died like back in September, and they only just now released the toxicology that concluded that he had died of toxic alcohol poisoning. Years and years of excessive drinking caught up with him, and he died. And I go, this, we don't get the toxicology reports very quickly. I actually said this yesterday during the noon show. I said, we're not going to hear what killed Bob Saget until June or Mother's Day. Or I said something like that. And then like a mere hours later, it comes out. And the first report was just a report from the family. And so I was like, okay, well, they're saying this, but do we have the toxicology? And it turns out, I guess we do. I guess we do. I guess so. There was no drugs or alcohol involved. Man, he did that thing, boy. You bang your head, do not go to sleep. If you bang your head and if you feel that you've hit it significantly and you're like, oh, man, that was a bit of a clunk, you got to stay up for a few hours. You got to force yourself to stay awake, no matter how tired, no matter whatever. You bang your head, you got to stay awake because bad shit could be going on. I told the story last night, and I don't know why I feel like I shouldn't be telling the story. I should let her. But Kelly had an incident where she banged her head, and my former partner Kelly, recently she banged her head really hard, and she just ignored it the way most of us do. Luckily, she didn't go to sleep. Thankfully. And I guess a few hours later, her husband noticed that, and I might have the story wrong because she'd probably tell it, but her husband noticed that she was slurring her words, and I guess part of her face was numb or like dead, like a stroke or something. She had a brain bleed. She had to be rushed to a hospital. They had to do like an emergency brain surgery on her. If she had gone to sleep, she wouldn't be with us. So thank God she's a lunatic who doesn't take naps and just goes. But isn't that typical of her, though, too? For those of you who remember Kelly, that of course she would almost die working out. Of course. It's the only thing it's the most dangerous. She does nothing but work out. Of course she would die almost working out. Back to Bob Saget. In consideration of the circumstances, that's why I'm happy to be heavy. This is a precautionary fat. In consideration of the circumstances surrounding the death and after examination of the body, toxicology analysis, histology, and a respiratory pathogen panel, it is my opinion that the death of Mr. Saget was the result of blunt head trauma. read the statement from Joshua Stephanie, Chief Medical Examiner of the Orange and Osceola Counties Medical Examiner's Office. His injuries were most likely incurred from an unwitnessed fall. A toxicology analysis did not reveal any illicit drugs or toxins. The manner of death is accident. Our condolences go out to Mr. Saget's loved ones during this difficult time. So there we have it. There we go. We've got our answers. We got our answers fairly quick. And there were like these crazy like MAGA blue checks who were all going. They were trying to drum up the conspiracy. Bob Saget is alive and he knew about the sex island. You know, like, I swear, I shit you not. Those were some of the things that people with blue checks were putting out there on Twitter. We're never going to hear. And of course, I'm sure today those very same people are saying, this isn't true. Don't believe anything. Believe me, I'm crazy. Also, another death, Jeremy Giambi, brother of Jason Giambi. He died yesterday in his parents' home in Southern California. It is not being widely reported, but there are a few news outlets that are stating that Jeremy Giambi died of suicide yesterday morning in California in his family's home. Of course, he's the little brother of Jason Giambi. Jason Giambi was the much better Major League Baseball player. Jeremy was 47 years old, but Jeremy had more than a cup of coffee in the big leagues, as they like to say. He played with a number of teams. I think he only had a 5 or a 6 year career. Meanwhile, his brother was an MVP and a 5-time All-Star and all that. So, that had to have been a difficult one. Your brother's a big star, and then here you come and you just don't really measure up. So there you go. Sad news about Jeremy Giambi. Dave Chappelle. Okay. So Dave Chappelle is, I want to get into this a little bit. Dave Chappelle is trending. I'll read you the story. All right. So Dave Chappelle is trending, and boy, oh boy, is he. The people that have been trying to cancel him for months smell blood in the water, and they are just going after this. Oh, Dave Chappelle, here's the story. Here's how the story is being framed, okay? So, and don't get duped by the narration, but this is how it's being framed. Dave Chappelle opposed development plan that included affordable housing. That's how the story is being led with, but that's not the whole story. That's just one aspect of the story that people who are looking to destroy Dave Chappelle are glomming onto. I'll read you the story, and then I will explain to you exactly what was going on there, because the details are out there. You just don't find them, because the idea that he opposed affordable housing is a much more stinging narrative, and that's the one that people want to glom onto. Monday night, Chappelle joined Yellow Springs, Ohio residents, that's the little town in Ohio where he lives, in vocally pushing back against developments that he had opposed from the outset. Plans for mixed housing development in the village of Yellow Springs, Ohio, where comic superstar Dave Chappelle lives, have been nixed after the funny man and other residents protested. Oberer Homes, a new home construction company out of Miamisburg, Ohio, had plans to develop 53 acres in Yellow Springs, which is about 20 miles east of Dayton. The village and the company produced a plan that would have included duplexes, single-family homes, and an affordable housing component on the south edge of the small town. So that's like public housing. Like, that's when they say affordable housing, that's, code word for public housing. However, on Monday night, numerous residents, Chappelle among them, pushed back against revised planned unit development zoning. This according to the Dayton Daily News. The village council voted, 2 members voted for the plan and 2 voted against, with 1 abstention. That means the development can continue, but without an affordable housing component. Yellow Springs and Oberer Construction will now move forward with the building of 143 single-family homes, each with a starting price of $300,000. Okay, so I actually talked to a friend of mine who is a developer this morning. Here's what this is. Here's what is not being said. And let me play you the video. I'll play you the video of Dave Chappelle going in front of the board, okay? Just so you can see what here's the video. Excuse me. Dave Chappelle is against public housing. Dave Chappelle was raised in public housing, and now he's opposed to public housing in his town. They're calling him a not in my backyard guy, which is... Hi, I'm Dave. Here, we'll save it. All right, so watch this. This was Dave Chappelle on Monday at his local city council hearing, and he is protesting the development, okay? He's not protesting. He's not upset about specifically the housing, the affordable housing. He is against the development altogether. So here you go. Can we see it? Yeah, we can. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dave Chappelle.
He's pissed.
I just want to say, and Marianne, I can talk to you about this privately. I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they X out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so there he is. That's what he said to his city council. He is not happy about this planned development. Now, remember, these homes start at $300,000. They start at $300,000. If you've ever been driving down the road and you see a billboard for a new home community, it says prices starting as low as... That's never how much they cost. So if they're saying $300,000, that means these houses could range anywhere between $4 and possibly even up to $1 million. Now, do you understand? Let's just talk about $300,000, 20 miles outside of Dayton, Ohio, in rural Ohio, okay? Do you know how much house you get for $300,000 in that part of the country? You get a lot of house. These are nice houses. This development that is being planned are nice houses. And then they have added, the development company came in at the last minute and said, oh yeah, and we're also going to have a public housing component to this development. Now, so I said I talked to a developer friend of mine because I didn't understand. I was confused how they would think that they could sell really expensive homes in rural Ohio to people and then also have public housing attached to it. I mean, who's going to buy that? No, I'm sorry. That's just not a way to sell an expensive home 20 miles outside of Dayton to people who can afford to live there. They're not... Wait, tell me again. So I'm going to do all the upcharges, and this is going to be a $500,000 home here in rural Ohio. And what's this I read about a public housing development that you're also going to add? Okay, so here's what I learned from the developer. There are no intentions to put a public housing development in this starting at $300,000 construction project. They add those on with the intention of never doing them because when they're trying to get rights and tax breaks and all of this kind of stuff through the government, it is to their advantage to say that, oh yeah, we also have plans for public housing. And as the developer told me, they never get built. At the end, after they've sold all of these houses and they've gotten all of the tax breaks, they never build the public housing. They then just pay it back or they go. But during the startup phase of getting all of the money and the bank loans and all that to build these things, if you put a component like, oh, and we're going to let poor people live there, the banks give you better rates on loans. This was all a scam from the very beginning. And if you read further into this, what Dave Chappelle said in that thing was that he's pulling all of his money. Dave Chappelle has pledged $65 million in investment to the town. He's going to build restaurants. He's going to build strip malls. He's going to build all of these things. And he also wants to build homes. This is his anger about this, although the narrative is being framed as Dave Chappelle doesn't want public housing. No, he doesn't want this company buying that tract of land. He wants to develop that tract of land. This isn't about public housing. That's just a bullshit thing that construction companies and developers add onto their initial pitches so that they can get, but nobody... They're not stupid. They know they're not going to sell $500,000 homes to people with the idea that there's also going to be Section 8 housing there. That doesn't work. That was never intended to go through with. That is just something that was added on at the last minute to take advantage of all of these new tax breaks. And the guy I talked to mentioned the whole Build Back Better thing, that in recent months, this was added a couple of weeks ago. This is not what Dave Chappelle is angry about. Dave Chappelle is looking to kill the entire deal because he wants to develop the land. He's not specifically upset about this thing that has been added on that, according to the expert I spoke to, they were never going to build in the first place. This is a shell game. This is a dupe. This is what developers are doing. They're saying that in their plans when they go to the bank that they're also going to have low-income housing because the banks are then, they can get a better rate. And the banks then get federal breaks for giving money to people who are intending on doing this. When the fact of the matter is, they're never going to build them. At the end of the project, they're going to go, yeah, you know what? We never got to that public housing thing. And, oh, well, you know, the government is feckless. The government isn't going to be able to get any money. And besides, at that point, you know, they've already sold a whole tract of land with all these big, beautiful homes. So this is more, the truth of the story is more about Dave Chappelle wanting that land for himself because he owns the adjacent properties. He owns the adjacent properties where he plans to build strip malls, and he's going to build a comedy club, and he's going to build restaurants. These are all things that he has already given money to in the town to say, look, this is what I'm going to do here. And they've said, okay. He wants the adjoining land. Dave Chappelle wants to be the big shooter in that town. He doesn't want some other developer coming in and scooping up the land that's adjacent to all the land that he's already purchased and is going to develop. There is no reason to have houses there if Dave Chappelle isn't spending all the money on developing like an entertainment district. That's what this is about. But because of the trans thing and because, you know, we all follow narratives and people have ulterior motives, what they did was they were able to frame this yesterday and get Dave Chappelle trying to get number one as being against public housing. Now, if Dave Chappelle comes out in the next couple of days and he says, yeah, I just don't want poor people living in my town, well, I'd be shocked by that. But if he does, then the people I talk to and the contentions and the people that are defending him online are wrong. But it makes sense to me. Dave Chappelle grew up in public housing, okay? It's not like he doesn't want poor people, doesn't want to give affordable housing to poor people. It's that now he's a rich man, and he's put a lot of money into this town, and he is looking to own this town. And now you've got some outside developer from Miamisburg, Ohio, who wants to come in and scoop up the land and build houses adjacent to the area that he's already pumping a lot of money in. And his idea is, if I'm pumping all this money in developing, I want to build the houses. Who are these people coming in? So he is upset about the project total, not just this aspect. But the aspect of it is why it's trending, because that fits the narrative of the people that now want to demonize Dave Chappelle. Regardless of what you think about the whole trans thing, I think I've been pretty vocal about it, but they're unrelated. This is business. This is Dave Chappelle wanting to own the land that will benefit, that will bring people to live there because he's developing the adjacent land. Excuse me. So there you go. That's the whole Dave Chappelle thing. That's my take on it. And that's why Dave Chappelle is trending, because Dave Chappelle doesn't want affordable housing. He's one of those not in my backyard people, which he may be. Yeah, you know, he may be. I can tell you a story. When I was growing up, my hometown, it was a upper middle class suburb. There were a lot of rich people in my hometown where I grew up. I wasn't one of them. I lived in a condo. I had a single mom, you know, but everybody else in my neighborhood had money. And in the 90s, they put in some Section 8 housing, some affordable housing for Chicago was tearing down all of their public housing projects, the projects as we call them. And they were relocating. The government was relocating people, and they were giving big tax breaks to suburbs that were willing to put up, you know, suburban versions of these public housing. And we had one in our town. They started to build one, and the people went nuts. The people went nuts. And it's all about, well, I have this home and property values. And I don't know. We're 30 years removed from that project, and it's been built for 30 years. And, you know, there have been low-income people, low-income housing, government subsidized housing in this area now for 30 years. And I don't know what it's done to property values. I just know that like these otherwise forward-thinking, progressive, liberal suburbanites of the time, as soon as it was in their backyard, we all freaked out. We all went, no, we don't want that, the crime and all that stuff. And I'll tell you this. I don't know if this is true or not, but I will tell you, there's a lot of crime in that part of town now. that part of town. When I was delivering pizzas, I delivered pizzas for years in my hometown. That particular complex, that apartment complex, we wouldn't go to the doors. We had a policy. We would not go to the doors. You had to be outside to meet us because it was just too dangerous because people were getting robbed. Now, does low-income housing bring crime? It's probably not appropriate to say so, but it did in this case. I mean, I remember firsthand knowledge of, that's where you'd go to buy your drugs. That's where we couldn't deliver pizzas to without the person coming out and meeting us at the curb. So I don't know. But this whole not in my backyard thing, it is a bit hypocritical, especially for the town that I grew up in, which was very progressive and very, we're 1990s blue liberals and, we just want peace and equity for everybody, but not in my town. And that's a very real thing that happens. People can say one thing, but when it comes to their own backyard, they suddenly turn into a different person. Hypocrisy runs rampant on all sides. That's why I say, you got the left, hypocrites. You got the left, crazy hypocrites on the left, crazy hypocrites on the right. We're all somewhere in the middle dealing with these things one day at a time, one issue at a time. Also trending today, Prince Charles is trending. Jeff says if Chappelle wanted to develop that land too, he should have had an option for the land that included in his first deal with the city. You're just speculating because you want to be the anti-Chappelle guy, dude. I don't know how this all works, and neither do you. I don't know. Maybe he had a deal in place. Maybe there was a reason maybe there is a deal in place. Maybe the other people came in and gave more and they ditched his deal. I don't know. We don't know. But all I can tell you is that the narrative that is going around is, I hate to quote Joe Rogan, but it's a bit of a hit job. It's a bit of a hit job on Chappelle. At this point, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Prince Charles is trending. Why is Prince Charles trending? He's got COVID. He got COVID for the second time. he's fully vaxxed. He's fully boosted, and he is popped hot for the second time. Man, he's an old man. Prince Charles is an old man now. Oh, and here's what they're all worried about. He met with his mom yesterday. He met with the Queen. Prince Charles met with the Queen. You mean he met with his mom? All right, let's stop acting like this is. He met with his mom yesterday, and they don't know. There's no report on whether or not mom got popped hot or whatever. But boy, that'll be bad if the Queen pops hot for COVID. And I gotta be honest with you. Without giving any names, I know at least. Okay, so I'm going to count them now. So I'm going to be specific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people within the last 2 months who are unvaccinated. They are not vaxxed people. I know 6 people in the last few weeks since Christmas time who have popped hot for COVID, who have tested positive. And they never got sick. They never got sick. They did what they were supposed to do. They self-quarantined. They stayed in. They'd worked from home. They did all of that stuff. They were, they've got COVID. Oh, no, they've got COVID. Oh, I hope they're okay because they're not vaccinated. They got COVID, and they're fine. They were fine. They never got sick. None of them. No, actually, that's not true. I think one of them was sick for a day or two, but it was nothing. It was just like a cold or a flu. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking these COVID tests aren't the most accurate things out there. I think that there are false positives way more than we're being told because, we know that COVID really does do a number on people, especially the unvaxxed. People are in hospitals. People get sick. So we got to believe those are legitimate hot pops. But all of these other people who are it just seems, and now you got Prince Charles, who's double vaxxed and boosted. He's got it now for the second time. And what about, remember the argument? This is why we have to stay fluid with these things, because science isn't, math. Science is all theory-based. They're all making their best educated guesses. It used to be said that, once you get it, you can't get it again because you got the antibodies. Well, we now know that that's not true. We now, there are lots of people who have gotten COVID multiple times, or should I say, who have popped hot multiple times. And it brings us back again to the question of the tests. Are these tests accurate? Are 50% of these tests just bullshit? What's going on here? So Prince Charles is now he's now what do they call it? Self-isolating, and he has cleared his busy schedule from being a privileged fop. I don't know what the hell he's doing. We can't play racquetball today, Prince Charles. But he met his mom yesterday, so now there's concern about, what if the queen gets, well, the queen's 100 years old. Something's going to get her eventually. She's 100 years old. And by the way, I recently watched last night on Hulu, a quick review for you. Hulu posted the Kristen Stewart movie, Spencer, where she played, not Spencer Fry. This isn't a Robert Urich vehicle. This is Spencer, this Diana, where Kristen Stewart plays Diana. She was nominated for Academy Award. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm an old royal hag. I'm fascinated with those people. I am fascinated with the entire thing of, in the year 2020, being a royal. Like, okay, so we're pretty, well, I was going to say we're pretty smart about things, but actually that's not true. We're pretty dumb about other things. But we're pretty even-handed about, all men are created equal and all this stuff. And hey, and yes, they even believe that over there, except when it comes to the royals. The royals. We're all created equal and God made us all, except for those people. We're just going to keep pretending like those people are special. In the human lottery that, these people have won, where they are, no matter what, they're royal, they're Her Majesty, His Royal Highness, whatever. So I'm fascinated with that whole thing. I love The Crown. The Crown is like one of my favorite shows. That's such a good history show. That show is more history show than Downton Abbey. Isn't that just like Downton Abbey? No, it's nothing at all like Downton Abbey. It's a history show. It's about history as seen through the eyes of this woman who has sat on the throne of England and had a front row seat for every major historical event of the last 70 years. It's fascinating. So I watched Spencer, and like I said, Kristen Stewart, she's been nominated as Best Actress for her portrayal of Lady Diana Spencer, Princess Diana, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I guess she was Princess Diana. And she's terrific. She is really, this is the vampire movie girl, right? Kristen Stewart. She's like, I don't even know, Twilight. I guess she's the Twilight girl. She plays Lady Diana Spencer. She plays Princess Diana, and she's tremendous. She is really good. That said, with my appreciation for her performance and with my just lifelong interest in these people, I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate these people, but I'm also fascinated by them. I'm like, I gotta know more. I gotta know what it's like just hanging out in the royal rumpus room or whatever. Having said all that, it's like a 2-hour movie, and I got like an hour and 20 minutes into it, and I'm like, I've seen enough. I don't need to see any, but this isn't The Crown. I was hoping it would be about The Crown. I was hoping it would be about Diana's life. I was hoping it would, depict the tragic end and, all of the years of struggles between her and the Queen and her and Charles and Camilla and her with the guy that knocked her up and gave us Harry, because Harry is not Charles's kid. Harry is the son of that red-haired bodyguard that she had, Major whoever. I mean, that's obvious. That's as obvious as Ronan Farrow being Frank Sinatra's kid. It wasn't any of that. It was the entire movie, Spencer, takes place over the course of 3 days over Christmas in like 1990 or something. And it's weird. I described it to my friend, my buddy who also likes The Crown. I said, yeah, don't waste your time on this. I was texting with him this morning. He may or may not also be the developer. So I said, well, don't waste your time on this movie, because it's not like The Crown. It's like if David Lynch, at the height of his weirdness, directed an episode of The Crown. It's weird. She hallucinates. She's mopey. She's depressed the entire time. Everybody in the family hates her. She hides. She only has one friend who is the dresser who brings her gowns and all that stuff. And she's just miserable, and she hallucinates that she's having conversations with Queen Victoria and Anne Boleyn and, all this. It's just crazy. It's weird. It's bizarre. like I said, I got about an hour and 15 minutes into it, and I went, yeah, no, I don't. This is not for me. Okay, so Prince Charles, hope you get better soon, dude. If in fact these tests are legit, I have no idea. Let's see here. Frontier's airline is trending. We had another disruptive passenger. This was a flight between New York's LaGuardia and Orlando, Florida. Had to land somewhere in north of Raleigh, North Carolina, I think, because a passenger went nuts and started screaming that he was going to kill a baby. Now, I don't know if it was just that a baby was crying on the flight and the dude snapped, or if he was just really like, like crazy. So all the passengers jumped him and held him down, and so there you go. That's why Frontier Airlines is passing today, or is trending today. Sting is trending today. Sting, Sting-a-ling-a-ding-dong. Sting, lead singer of the Police. Sting, solo artist in his own regard. Why is Sting trending? I don't have this, do I? Yes, I do. There it is. Sting is trending because he is selling his entire music catalog of solo works and his some of the songs that he has the rights to that he wrote with the Police. He's selling it to Universal Music Group for, are you ready? Where's the money? Make sure I get this right. Wait a second. Where's it say the money? Sting has sold his songwriting catalog, including solo works, as well as hits with the Police like Roxanne, to Universal Music Group. The company said Thursday the industry's latest such blockbuster transaction. $250 million. Okay, so I want to get into this here because I've made a list. I actually did a little bit of research on this. We've been seeing this a lot lately. Bruce Springsteen sold his entire catalog a couple of months ago to Sony Music for $550 million. Sting sold his solo works and some of his Police music for $250 million to Universal Song Group. So I wondered, actually I fell down a bunny hole because this is a thing that's happening now with the new streaming platforms and all of that. Record companies, publishing companies, music distribution companies, they are seeing that there is going to be huge money in streaming and licensing and all that stuff in the future. So there's a buying spree with the music companies. They're paying now artists more than artists have ever been paid in the history. Now let's set the bar, okay? So the most that has ever been paid for an artist's complete music catalog was Michael Jackson. Back in 2016, Sony Music bought Michael Jackson's catalog for $750 million. Okay, so that's $750 million for the entire Michael Jackson catalog of music, and that was in 2016. The Beatles, whose catalog is owned by Paul and Yoko, and a smaller percentage by George and Ringo, but the bulk of the Beatles catalog is owned by Paul McCartney and Yoko. Paul and Yoko currently control the vast majority of it. Some stuff has been sold, but the vast majority of the Beatles music and the Beatles hits are owned by Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono. Now, they are expected to sell in the next couple of months because of this buying spree that's going on with music publishers and music companies. Their deal, the Beatles deal, is expected to be in excess of $1 billion. So one of these companies is expected to come in and pay Yoko Ono and Paul McCartney $1 billion for the Beatles music. Okay, so that set the bar. That is expected to be the largest in history. As it currently stands, Michael Jackson, his 2016 deal with Sony Music, is the largest in history at $750 million. We just talked about Sting selling his catalog to Universal for $250 million. And we know that Bruce Springsteen, a couple of months ago, sold his catalog to Sony for $550 million, right? Okay. Dylan also recently Bob Dylan sold his catalog also to Sony for $200 million. So here are some of the numbers that we have right now, just within the last year or so, of superstar artists who have sold their catalogs. As I said, Dylan sold his last month for $200 million to Sony. Bruce Springsteen sold his to Sony 2 months ago for $550 million. David Bowie, the estate of David Bowie, sold his catalog to Warner Music for $250 million. Stevie Nicks, who was, if you remember, Stevie Nicks was huge. Stevie Nicks sold her music to a group called Primary Wave Music for $100 million. Alice in Chains. Here's an interesting one. Alice in Chains just recently, like a couple weeks ago, the estates of Lane Staley and the rest of the people in the band, they sold to Primary Wave as well, the Alice in Chains song catalog for $50 million. Okay. Red Hot Chili Peppers sold their music to Hypnosis Music for $140 million. Paul Simon, the iconic long singer-songwriter. Paul Simon's wrote so many songs. Paul Simon sold his entire catalog to Sony Music for $250 million. Motley Crue sold their entire catalog to BMG for $150 million. And here's an interesting one. Shakira sold her entire catalog to Hypnosis Music, the same people who bought the Red Hot Chili Peppers for $140 million. Shakira sold her catalog of 152 songs to Hypnosis for $200 million. I was confused by that one. I'm like, Shakira? Really? How Shakira's music sold for more than Motley Crue? She sold for more than Stevie Nicks, more than who else was I saying here? Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah, and it's because, and it was explained in the article that I read about her selling her catalog. Latin America. She may not have all that many hits here, Hips Don't Lie and maybe a couple of others, but holy crap, has she sold music in the rest of the world. Shakira is massive around the globe. Whereas, a band like Red Hot Chili Peppers, who really their primary audience is America. Red Hot Chili Peppers, $140 million. You'd think that they've got way more songs that we know than Shakira, but no, Shakira, $200 million. All right, so there you have it. So again, the largest of all time is Michael Jackson to Sony at $750 million. The Beatles are expected to top that at over $1 billion. And just today, Sting sold his entire Universal catalog for, I forgot again, how much did Sting sell it for? $250 million. So there you go. So who's in the $250 million club? Sting is in the $250 million club. David Bowie is in the $250 million club. Paul Simon is in the $250 million club. Certainly Michael Jackson at $750, Bob Dylan at $200, Bruce Springsteen at $550, and Stevie Nicks at $100, Alice in Chains at $50. There you go. All right, so man, I'm telling you, be expecting everybody and their brother to start selling their music, because the streaming services are making it very lucrative for licensing deals, and all of these publishing companies, they want to make some money. Yeah, Ross Rubio, that's what I read too. Shakira is international AF. She is out there. Let's see what else is happening. So those are some. So there you go. There you go, kids. Pick up a guitar and start writing songs, because it looks like it pays off. Rob Manfred is trending. Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball. We are. Oh God, I'm so tired of this. We are in the middle of a baseball lockout, folks. The damn players. Stop it with the players. It's the owners. This is a lockout. The players are like, we want to play baseball, and the owners are like, no, you can't play baseball. This is an owners thing. Okay. And Rob Manfred, who is the mouthpiece of the owners, there is no independent commissioner in any of the sports. Maybe the NBA. Maybe the NBA, the commissioner has a little bit more power, but certainly not Goodell. Goodell is the whipping boy in the NFL to the owners. Same with Rob Manfred. And Rob Manfred is such a feckless piece of garbage. I was hoping when I saw him trending, and I'm like, oh, did he resign? Did they force him out because he's a fool? Because he's a feckless coward? No. Manfred gave a State of the Lockout press conference this morning, and he made some news. He really did. Nothing good. Nothing good. The main issue, the collective bargaining agreement, there was no movement on that. Last week, the owners put out a deke. It was a total deke. They put it out there that we are so desperate to settle this CBA that we would like a federal mediator to come in. No, they didn't. That was just a deke. They don't want that. They just want. Here's the problem that the owners are experiencing right now. The owners are a bunch of old men who don't understand. This is the first lockout / collective bargaining negotiation that has occurred in the era of social media. The owners are getting their asses kicked by the masses through social media because the players and the players union are a little bit more engaged in that venue. The players are controlling the narrative on social media. So today was sort of an attempt by Rob Manfred to come out and say, all right, well, we're all very, and he's very positive. He was very positive. He's like, here's a couple of things that he says. He expects there to be no change in opening day. You're insane. You're insane. He also says that they are still negotiating a new CBA. Yeah, well, duh. That's the big hurdle. We know. That's why they're still pitchers and catchers are supposed to be. Here's the problem with spring training, okay? And why I don't believe it when Rob Manfred said there will be no change to opening day. Spring training is not about the hitters. Spring training is not about the fielders. Spring training is not about, I forgot how to run the base path. That's not what spring training is about. Spring training is 100% about the pitchers. Spring training is about the arms. Spring training is about your high-value pitchers being able to get back into competitive shape because, when you don't throw for 4 or 5 months, your arm tends to, it's the pitchers who need spring training. This isn't a batter can get his swing back after an afternoon in a batting cage. The hitters are ready to go. The fielders are ready to go. They don't forget how to play the outfield. They don't forget the base. The speed doesn't die, right? So it's all about the pitchers. There's no way first of all, there's no way that spring training will open on time. And so then we're probably talking about at least a week delay. Spring training is already too short for a lot of pitchers. That's why, pitchers get shelled in the early parts of a season because they're not ready. This is ridiculous. The idea that he says that opening day is not, I don't expect any change to the scheduled opening. That's a lie. That's a complete lie. Of course, there's March 31st. There's no way that they're going to be able to get all of this solved, especially since they're nowhere near solving the collective bargaining agreement. This is going to be another 3 weeks of them going back and forth unless the owners go, all right, we give in. You guys are right. I don't know what we were thinking. A bunch of billionaire owners are not going to do that. They're dug in. They don't care. They will be able, they're fine sacrificing 20, 30, 40 games in the season if it means that they're going to make their extra money. What they really want is the expanded playoffs because that's where they get their money from. All right, I'm not doing a sports show. I just realized I'm getting way deep in the weeds on the baseball negotiations and nobody cares. But here is the very big news, okay? Rob Manfred did give some very big news. And I couldn't be happier because I'm not some crotchety old man who calls himself a baseball purist. I'm a baseball progressive. Let's save this sport, okay? Sport is friggin' boring. My 12-year-old kid, he only likes baseball because I force him to like baseball, but he wouldn't have come to it on his own, and none of his friends like baseball. Hopefully that'll change here in North Texas because the Rangers look really good. I think they're going to be an exciting young team. So I like change in baseball. And guess what is trending right alongside Rob Manfred? Universal DH. That's right. The owners have agreed to the universal DH. No more pitchers. No more pitchers hitting. No more bases loaded rallies stalling out because some fat pitcher comes up to the plate and just rests the bat on his shoulder for 3 strikes. We're going to have the DH in the National League. Now, I don't know if that'll happen this year. It might happen next year. But oh boy, chicks dig the long ball and so does daddy. I love it. So the owners have accepted the universal DH. And they've also, this is a big, concession on the part of the owners. So now there will no longer be a required compensatory draft pick given for free agent signings, which was always a problem, which I always thought was absolute bullshit. So if you're a free agent and your contract is done with a team and you go and sign with a new team, that team you sign with has to give a compensatory draft pick to the team that lost you. Well, why? Because they couldn't sign him. They couldn't re-sign the guy they had. This isn't slavery. When his contract is done, he's done. He can go wherever the hell he wants. I don't know why the new team has to suddenly give up like a draft pick for the rights to negotiate with him. So they've dropped that now. There's no longer, free agents are totally free agents. They can go wherever they want with no sort of penalty to the team that ends up signing them. There we go. Trending. This is a fun story. This is a fun one. Ice fishing and prostitution are trending alongside each other. Why, Pugs? What could ice fishing have to do with prostitution? Well, let me tell you, I've heard stories. A mayor, here, I'll read you the story. Let's see if we pull this story up here. Ohio mayor lambasted for saying ice fishing would lead to prostitution. And people are saying, he embarrasses our town with these wild claims. No, he's not wrong. I'll tell you. An Ohio City Council planned to cover several items during its Tuesday night meeting. They discussed new water billing rates and review ward boundaries. But before Hudson City Council members ran through their agenda, the president said there was one more topic to discuss. Ice fishing. We have a number of people who have requested the ability to ice fish on Hudson Springs Lake, Council President Chris Foster said. Ice fishing is prohibited there, and there have been fatalities due to soft ice in the past. Foster wanted to gauge whether the city council should consider a change to the rules. He asked for members' opinions, and most of what followed centered around safety concerns. Then Mayor Craig Schubert stepped in. Oh, Mayor Craig. Then Mayor Craig Schubert stepped in, and the conversation took an unexpected turn. His issue with allowing people to ice fish on the lake, you may ask? Well, he said it could lead to prostitution. Everybody laughed. There was mirth. He was laughed off the stage. He said, if you open this thing up to ice fishing, while on the surface it sounds good, then what happens next year? Mayor Craig asked. Does someone come back and say, I want an ice shanty on the Hudson Springs Park for X amount of time. And then, if you allow ice fishing with shanties, that leads to another problem, prostitution. Okay. All right. So, this sounds crazy, but man, I've heard stories about ice fishing. There is a famous place. I had a friend who, high profile friend, he may or may not have been a radio host in Chicago, who was a big ice fisher up in Wisconsin. They go up to Wisconsin with all the guys, and they used to tell stories about how you'd go into the middle of the woods, and you'd go to this like really remote lake, beautiful giant Wisconsin lake, and you had the shanties, and you'd drill the holes and all that stuff. And for some weird reason, in the middle of the woods, like 30 miles from the nearest town, there was a strip club called Weasels, and Weasels is famous in Wisconsin. It's really sketchy. It's in the middle of the woods. There's nothing near it. And it's Weasels is a strip club that caters to the outdoorsmen who come out there for ice fishing in the winter, deer hunting in the winter, snowmobiling in the winter, boating in the summer, fishing in the summer, whatever it is. But that's why in the middle of the woods, far away from any civilization, there is a strip club. And the stories about Weasels, pimps from Chicago would load up a bus and bring up all of their prostitutes to work at Weasels during ice fishing season. And you'd walk into Weasels in the middle of remote Wisconsin, and you would see all of these working girls who didn't look like Wisconsin girls. They didn't look like they were from around here because they were brought in specifically to service these guys who are out on guys' weekends. So, this crazy mayor talking about prostitution that's a very real thing. I've heard about it. I've heard that it goes, it sounds really unappetizing to me, but whatever. So everybody's laughing at this guy, and I can tell you, I've heard stories. And then there's another story that attaches here to why he said it, because there was a big problem in Minnesota, which is just across from Wisconsin, where a huge prostitution ring was busted that was doing exactly what he said. These girls were working out of another one of these remote strip clubs in the middle of the woods, and they were delivering girls directly to ice shanties. So, it's a real thing. Men are pigs. A guy that's been unhappily married for 20 years, he goes off for the weekend with his buddies. You think they're really just going to sit there, drink brandy and fish? No, they're going to get into all kinds of stupid, dumb guy shit. And, now, I don't know if it's a realistic problem in this place in Ohio where they're trying to just let people ice fit, but I'm telling you, it is a real thing. It is a real thing. So there you go. Super Bowl. This is interesting. Super Bowl London is a story. How about this? Could you imagine? In 2026, London is making a big play to host the Super Bowl. Now, London has been a destination for road games for years now. They play a couple of games a year in London. Teams from America go over and they play at Wembley or one of the big stadiums. Well, there's a brand new super stadium being built in London, and it will be home to Tottenham Hotspur of the Premier League. And it's supposed to be one of the most amazing stadiums in the world. And they have decided, as part of their global promotion of their stadium, that they're going to go hard for a Super Bowl in 2026. And it is believed, early chatter is, they might get it. They might get it. Exclusive. Tottenham are involved in an audacious bid to host Super Bowl in 2026 at their new $2 billion American London stadium, with the NFL looking to take their biggest game overseas in an effort to grow their international audience. Tottenham are lining up a historic bid to stage the Super Bowl. The club wants to become the event's first overseas hosts and are exploring the bids to bring American football showpiece to London in 2026. How is that going to affect the game? Because the Super Bowl must air in America in prime time. It's got early prime. So the game typically starts at 5. It goes till about 9 p.m., the coverage, the actual game with the, ceremony afterwards and all that stuff. So what is the time difference in London? I don't know how they could make that work. So let me just quickly ask, although I could probably ask someone in the chat room who could do it quicker. What time is it in London? Let me see. I think it's like 5-6 hours. Okay, so it's 7:32 in London. Okay, so what is that? 6 hours ahead. Okay, so they're 6 hours ahead. So if the Super Bowl were to be played in London, and it's a static start time. They're not going to do like an early morning Super Bowl. There's too much advertising money for that. So if it's a 6 hour difference, the game would have to be played at 11 p.m. Okay, so maybe they move it back. No way. I don't know how they make that work. I have no idea how they make that work. So even if you had the Super Bowl start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, American time, that means the game would start at 9 p.m. That means in London, the game would go on, till after. No, I don't know how they make that work. I don't know how they make that work. But there you go. London is going for the 2026 Super Bowl. I just don't see how that works. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about all this stuff. Super Bowl 1 is also trending. Super Bowl 1. This was the first Super Bowl that was ever played. It's trending because there was an argument that broke out online concerning who the halftime act was for Super Bowl 1. And I guess I'd never heard this before today, but apparently it had been a long urban legend that the halftime show for the very first Super Bowl in 1967 were the Three Stooges. That the Three Stooges did some bits at halftime of the Super Bowl. That is absolutely not true. 100 Snopes says it's not true. There's a bunch of articles that says that it's not true. Where did it come from? It came from a book written by Larry Fine in the 1970s, where he told a story about how we played the first Super Bowl. He goes into this big, long, stupid story. Totally a lie. Not true. The Super Bowl, let's see, the actual halftime acts for the first Super Bowl was, are you ready for this? The halftime show featured trumpeter Al Hurt, The marching bands from the University of Arizona and the Grambling State University. 300 pigeons were released, 10,000 balloons, and a flying demonstration by the hydrogen peroxide-propelled Bell Rocket Airmen. There you go. Not exactly what we're getting this year. This year, I think we're going to get the greatest halftime show. Okay, so there's also some fun facts, some Super Bowl fun facts that are trending today from Super Bowl I. Super Bowl I was held on January the 15th, 1967, in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. The Green Bay Packers from the NFL defeated the Kansas City Chiefs from the AFL by a score of 35-10. It wasn't known as the Super Bowl in Super Bowl I. The term Super Bowl has been retroactively applied to that game, but they called it the League Championship of the World at the time, and it was only then, years later, a couple of years later, maybe the next years later, I don't know. But at that point, they settled on calling it the Super Bowl, and now anytime you see a retro, like a Super Bowl I, they didn't actually call it Super Bowl I back then. It was also aired on 2 networks simultaneously. The networks were NBC, who had the rights to the AFL games. NBC aired the Super Bowl. And at the exact same time, CBS, who had the rights to the NFL, aired the Super Bowl. And the game wasn't sold out. The game was not sold out. There were plenty of tickets available for it. And tickets for that Super Bowl were selling for as low as $1. $1 for Super Bowl I. Now, I imagine if you have a ticket stub from Super Bowl I that you saved it somehow, it's worth way more than $1. Way more. Also, here's another fun fact. Imagine this in today's day and age. So this was 1967 Super Bowl I. The opening kickoff of the game had to be redone because the cameras missed it. That's right. So they kicked off the ball. A play happened, and then they went, no, we got to do that again. TV cameras weren't ready. Imagine that. So there you have it. That's why Super Bowl I is trending. Futurama is trending. Futurama is, the Matt Groening, or is it Groening? I don't know, Groening, whatever it is. The guy who does The Simpsons. Matt Groening's other long-running cartoon, Futurama. It's coming back. They're rebooting it. It's going to be new episodes will air on Hulu. New episodes of Futurama are coming, and they will air on Hulu. And everybody is returning. All of the same people are returning. All the voices, I should say. So like Katie Seagal and Billy West, I guess. Now, but the guy that's not coming back is John DiMaggio, who voiced the foul-mouthed robot Bender. So they are doing open auditions now to recast the voice of Bender for the new Hulu. And as I like Bender, that's a pretty, he was the funny guy in it. So it's going to be different. But whatever. Hey, man, nobody liked it when they recast Fred Flintstone. But, we got used to it. Also trending today, DaBaby. I don't know why. DaBaby is trending. DaBaby's a hip-hop guy. He's trending because he went to a bowling alley with his boys, and they beat the snot out of his girlfriend's brother. They went to a bowling alley to bowl. They saw his baby mama, and they have a baby together. Her name is Danny Lee, and I don't know who she is, but I looked her up. She's a very pretty young lady. DaBaby and Danny Lee broke up, and DaBaby shows up at the bowling alley, and DaBaby sees Danny Lee's brother, and DaBaby sends his guys, and they kick the shit out of him. So that's what's happening. That video is trending. I could show you the video, but it's too chaotic. It's like you can't really see anything, so why? Wheel of Fortune is trending. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is trending because something crazy happened on the show this week. Apparently 3 days in a row. Is it 3 days in a row? Or is it 2 days in a row? It's 2 days in a row, but 3 times this week. No, here it says 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, Wheel of Fortune contestants won the $100,000 grand prize. I don't watch Wheel of Fortune. I haven't watched it in years, so I'm not entirely sure how that works. But I guess at the end of the show, there's a $100,000 grand prize. And in the long-running history of Wheel of Fortune, people have won the grand prize, but they've never won it more than once in a week in a 5-day period. And this week, This week, 3 times this week, a contestant has won the $100,000 grand prize at the end of Wheel of Fortune. So there you go. Wheel of Fortune. Jurassic World Domination is trending because they've released a new trailer for the new movie. Should we watch it? Why not? Let's watch this. We'll watch the new trailer for Jurassic World Domination. I don't really have any interest in it, but hey, maybe you do. Let's go to it. Here we go. Jurassic World Domination. The new trailer is out. What is it? Chris Pratt, one of the Chris's involved in this thing? Let's see, probably. All right, here we go. Let's share this. Let's give this a look. I'm not really into the Jurassic Park movies, but hey, I know a lot of people are, so let's check it out. Here we go.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch. Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
We can't keep her here forever.
If they find her, we're never going to see her again. We got to protect her. That's our job.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Hey, it's Laura Dern. Happy birthday, Laura Dern.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
This summer.
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
I've seen enough. I don't. Whatever. Dinosaur movies, whatever. What is this? Breaking news. Weasel strip club burned down in 2012. What are you talking about? What did you do? A quick little look for weasels in, I don't even know what part of Wisconsin. Where was that? So like, it was up by Beloit, maybe. Is that true, Jeff? Jeff, I just told the story about the ice fishing whorehouse. Oh, you don't call it a whorehouse. Well, it's what it's known as. I'm sorry. Jeff Glenn is reporting that Weasel Strip Club in Wisconsin burned down in 2012. I'm sure it was a total accidental burning down. I'm sure that the owners didn't burn it down for insurance money or anything like that. Nah, a fine, upstanding establishment like Weasel's. All right, so there's Jurassic Park World Domination. I'm sorry, I guess it looks so boring. Dinosaurs. Let's see. James Harden is trending again today as the NBA trade deadline looms. Speculation about potential trades for the Nets star James Harden and his beard continue as the trade deadline approaches. Inflation is trending. U.S. headline: inflation hit 7.5% in January. That's above expectations. That's a big deal. But also, as I was looking around at the inflation, it's not just us. It's Japan is going through crazy inflation. France is also trending with their inflation. Germany, the UK, the whole world. You know what's happening, folks? For 2 years, we've been in a pandemic and business has been down. People haven't been doing the things that they normally do. So these big corporate overlords who you're going into that crazy, we're all puppets of the corporate monolithic structure, aren't you? I am. So all these corporations that weren't able to maximize their profits because of the pandemic, they're just raising prices on everything. They're getting their pound of flesh back from us now. They're going to make us pay 20 cents more for a gallon of milk. Please. They're going to make their money. You didn't think business was going to lose money during the pandemic, did you? Oh, silly you big silly. Maggie Haberman is trending. This woman. Maggie Haberman is trending because she's got a new book out called Confidence Man, which is a book about President Trump. You get it, Confidence Man? That's what that's the proper way to say con man. She doesn't want to call him a con man because Maggie Haberman needs to pretend like she's, oh, shut up. Maggie Haberman, I'm so sick of these people. You got your Bob Woodward's also trending. We're not even going to talk about him. You got your Bob Woodwards. You got, who's your guy? Who's who was the girl? She was the Fox News girl, and then she went to Stephanie Grisham, right? You got her. You got Maggie Haberman. You have all of these people who were supposedly eyewitnesses to all of these highly illegal deals, but did they say anything in the moment? No, they sat on all of these juicy things until they were able to sell a book about it. Maggie friggin' Haberman works for the New York Times. Bob Woodward works for the Washington Post. These people are supposed to break stories for their news organizations. And now Maggie Haberman in this new book, Confidence Man, she's saying that she knew he was destroying documents and that she knew all of this stuff that was going on. And it's all detailed in this new book, Confidence Man. But she didn't say dick about it when she was reporting for the New York Times. It's like she's just holding on to the best things in order to sell a book. Talk about a confidence man. You're a con woman, Maggie Haberman, and I'm sick of this bullshit. If you people had spoken up, please, if something illegal is going on, say something. Don't go, ooh, that's going to be great for my book. Why would I give it to my employer, the New York Times, when I can just go out and strike a rogue deal with a publishing house and write a book about it? Bob Woodward's been doing this for 20 damn years. And but he's one. Woodward and Bernstein, they brought down Watergate. Yeah, that was before he knew. If Woodward and Bernstein knew that they could have gotten a huge publishing deal, they would have sat on that story. They would just so angry. So Maggie Haberman, screw you, Maggie Haberman. I don't care about your book. I don't care about your book with all of these salacious details about how terrible the former president was. Shut up. You didn't say anything then. You just sat on this. And then you went to a publisher and they said, well, what do you got for us? And you said, ooh, I've got all of this. Shut up. And now she's all over the news today promoting her new book. Go to hell. Go to hell, you treasonous witch. And you too, Bob Woodward. Patrick Beverley is trending. Patrick Beverley, of course, who's he with now? Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves. Pat Bev, love him. I love Patrick Beverley. He woke up this morning and started trolling Russell Westbrook. He said, and so everybody's like, oh, Pat Beverley throwing barbs at Russ Westbrook. Patrick Beverley woke up this morning and tweeted, I remember when somebody said, all I do is run around and trick y'all. Well, my boy is the real magician this year. And he was talking about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has had a bad couple of weeks. Taking a lot of crap. Al Franken, of course, formerly of the Franken and Davis comedy team from the early days of Saturday Night Live. Al Franken is trending. It says, breaking news. Al Franken announces that he is, quote, tempted to run for his old Senate seat again. He reveals that he regrets having resigned over a non-scandal. I like Al Franken. I like him. He's a smart man. But you know what? I was so angry when he resigned. I was so pissed that he decided to fall on the sword in the name of decency. He didn't do anything. He did nothing wrong. And, we were all caught. And then that Kristen Gillibrand, that we got to get rid of her. Kristen Gillibrand. I do not feel safe in the Senate with someone like Al Franken. Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. You know what? You people, you weak-kneed, feckless, liberal pansies, all you do is say, I'm sorry, and for the good of the country, I will resign. Nobody else does that. Nobody. And I like Al Franken. I thought look, could you imagine how funny Al Franken would have been if he was in the Senate for the past 4 years? He'd have been hysterical. That guy's hysterical. And there's a part of me that says, yeah, I'd like to see Al Franken back because I think he's a good man. I think he's a good man and I think he's a smart man. But you know what? No, you quit. You're gone. You're done. Get out of here. Get somebody new. Tell me what you really think, Pugs. I like Al Franken. I'm still so angry that he resigned a seat in the United States Senate because there was a picture of him going honk, honk over a woman who was asleep. He wasn't touching her. He wasn't and he was a comedian at the time, and they were on an entertainment USO tour. He wasn't even a senator. It's just, stop it. There are people raping women. There are people doing actual things. And you, Al Franken, you're going to give up a very important seat in the Senate simply because, I'm going to do the right thing. And because Kristen Gillibrand is afraid to be alone with you. This is like the I'm shook tweet. That you're seeing all of these. Look, as a progressive, I cannot stand the weak-willed liberals who refuse everything. Everything is, I'm so upset about this. You guys, I'm shook. Oh, stop it, you overdramatic. Stop it. This is important shit that's going on. Nobody cares that you're shook because you saw a picture of Al Franken. Honk, honk. Kristen Gillibrand, I do not feel safe being in these Senate chambers alone with someone who is a predator. He's not a predator. He's not a predator. He did a stupid joke. He didn't touch her. It was... Oh, now another guy I can't stand. Geraldo is trending. I'm getting all worked up. Geraldo is trending. This guy. Geraldo is trending because he said, Al Sharpton is one of the smartest people in public life. Just Google search Tawana Brawley, okay? Al Sharpton is a con man. He has been a con man for years and years, but he says the sort of things that placate a certain wing of the political... Al Sharpton is in it for himself. Al Sharpton has always been in it for himself. I stopped watching MSNBC when they gave Al Sharpton his own show. Al Sharpton is not a good person. Geraldo. Al Sharpton is one of the smartest people in public. And you know what that might be? That very well may be. Al Sharpton might be a very smart. My problem with Al Sharpton is that he seems like a terrible person. Like the way he had conducted himself until I'd say the last 10, 15 years, the way that he was a public personality for the things that he did, the lies that he told, the people whose lives he destroyed by making up things. He's a real piece of garbage. He might be smart. You can be smart and be a piece of garbage. I know plenty of people who I think are really smart or pieces of garbage. But what is Geraldo doing? And, Geraldo is like, he goes on Fox News, and what is he supposed to be, the representative of the progressive left or whatever? No, he's not. He's there to just get the shit kicked out of him every day by people who make nonsensical arguments to things that he says. I'm so disgusted by Geraldo. He also said something called the truckers in Canada. He called them terrorists. And then everybody on the 5 on Fox or whatever show it is that he's on, they just shit hammered him. And he just sat there like, burr. He doesn't defend his point. He has too much integrity and too much dignity to get in the mud. Oh, so you're just going to get the shit kicked out of you on TV for 10 minutes. Thanks, dude. Thanks for being a voice of the progressive left. Moran. I hate that guy. You know what I'd like to see on the 5? I'd like to see, okay, just for one day, now that she's stepping away from MSNBC, just drop Rachel Maddow in there for one show. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Jeanine Pirro get cross-examined by Rachel Maddow. Don't give me Geraldo. Are you kidding me? Al Capone's vault. I'm still angry about Al Capone's vault. All right, and also trending today, we've got Brook Shields and Jordache. Brook Shields, 56 years old. She's going back. She started, I'll tell you, this is a little weird. The 70s were a lawless time. We were crazy. So Brook Shields is 56 years old, and she's been re-signed by Jordache, the jean company, and she's doing a new spread of advertisements, or do you say advertisements, for Jordache. Now, Brook Shields slips into her jeans and poses topless for new Jordache. This is my 56-year-old body. campaign. And she looks fantastic. Brook Shields is beautiful. But it's interesting because Brook Shields was originally a Jordache jeans model on television commercials when she was 15. And every time I read this, and every time I think back on the Jordache jean commercials, it was okay for me because I was like 10. I was like 11. And she was like the hot babysitter, right? So I was allowed to watch these Jordache jean commercials in between, Love Boat and Fantasy Island or whenever the hell they would air. And I would watch it and I'd go, wow, I'd like her to be my babysitter. Because she was like an older, she's 15. I was like, whatever, 10, probably even younger. But man, when you think of the way 15-year-old Brook Shields was sexualized by grown-ass men in the 1970s, it's horrifying. It is, things do get better, folks. The good old days, the 1970s, when 4 adults could smoke in a car with an infant child and you could sexualize a 15-year-old model. Jeez, man. She was... And then I'm not even going to talk about the movie Pretty Baby. Are you familiar with the movie Pretty Baby? Pretty Baby was like her first role, Brook Shields' first role, where she played a 10-year-old prostitute who did nude scenes. What? That's why you can't find Pretty Baby anymore. I can't imagine. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't know if it's out there. But, oh yeah. Brook Shields did her first nude scene at like 10 years old. And it wasn't like, it's just a little girl taking a bath. It's totally innocent. No, she did her first nude scene as a 10-year-old in the movie Pretty Baby as a prostitute. She was a prostitute who was brought out to this party for, oh God, what the fuck was wrong with people in the 1970s? Yeah, I know Jodie Foster did the same thing. I know Jodie Foster and Taxi Driver, but that was different. We were supposed to be shocked by that. The Pretty Baby thing almost tried to present it like this is normal. This is what people do when they have money. They sexualize 10-year-old children and turn them into prostitutes. Taxi Driver we were supposed to go, oh my God, what an absolutely awful existence this is. That's a teenage prostitute Jodie Foster is portraying. A little bit different. I don't know. I haven't seen Pretty Baby. I don't think I've ever seen Pretty Baby. I just know about that. I know about that particular situation. All right, well, that's it. That's all that I had prepared for you. So let's jump in now. Let's see what I've missed. Let's see what new things are trending. Bum, 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 bum. Is there anything new? Again, special thanks to the lovely April who provided today's moment of joy. I'm reminded of that because I just saw it. Oh, okay. Look, this breaking news. I just said Ben Harden. Okay. So this happened. Ben Harden. James Harden. James Harden is trending at number 1 right now after I just mentioned him 10 minutes ago, talking about how he's being mentioned in trades. Apparently he has been traded. The NBA trade deadline ends Thursday at it ends in 2 minutes. All right. The trade deadline ends. Yes, I am. I'm a John Hinckley apologist, Adam. The NBA trade deadline ends on Thursday in 2 minutes. One of the biggest trade speculations has materialized. James Harden of the Brooklyn Nets has been traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. Whoa! Holy balls! That is massive. That is massive. I mean, I thought they were just going to maybe do a 1 with Simmons, who is basket case. You can't really count on him. But I thought they were just going to do like the rights to Simmons, Seth Curry, and a 1. But they got Andre Drummond as well and 2 first-round picks. Wow. This is according to the Athletic and ESPN. This is like, wow. I mean, this is big. Other possible trades to watch include the Portland Trailblazers' Damian Lillard and who the Los Angeles Lakers and Washington Wizards will add to their rosters. The Trailblazers they ain't going to trade Lillard. They traded CJ McCollum. They traded everybody. They can't trade Lillard too. They won't. They're going to build around Lillard. So I don't watch this. Now watch. We'll come back at high noon and it'll be like blockbuster deal, Damian Lillard. I don't think they will though. I mean, they traded everybody else. It's like what? They'll have nobody else to even build. You can build a whole new team around Dame Lillard. You can do that. Lakers. Okay, so there you go. That's going to change. Look, my team my team is doing really well in the East. We've been in first place almost all season. Right, currently we're in second. I think we're a game or so behind. But my team ain't going to win a title this year. We're too young. This is just a new team that's gelling and playing balls out in the regular season. I expect a first-round exit from my bullies, but, that's okay. We're building. But the 76ers, man. 76ers now add, they add Harden, but they lose Curry, who's been surprisingly really good. I shouldn't say surprising. I mean, he's shooting lights out. Wow, man. Now I'm afraid of the Sixers. Also, this doesn't look good. Let's jump into this. The Mavs are trending at number 2. Multiple reports. Dragic expected to sign with the Mavs and unite with Luka. So look at that. Goran Dragic expected to sign with the Mavs and unite with Luka Doncic. Longtime Luka Doncic mentor Goran Dragic could finally be on his way to joining the Dallas Mavericks. Skin Wade is tweeting how the Mavs gonna do this 5 minutes before I have to go into radiation. Bastards. Best of luck to Skin. We hope he's doing well. He's fighting a battle. He's apparently kicking some ass. So God love you, Skin. This is cool. All right, very cool for the very cool for the Mavs. Brooklyn is trending. Oh, it's right now. You know what? What are we gonna do? Like 20 minutes on the NBA? Because there we go. We are 1 minute past the deadline, and it seems like all the trades have been done. And currently, everything trending on at least Twitter is all NBA related. Well, there you go. There's a baby. Oh, and Universal DH is still hanging in there, which is good. Anything new? Anything else hanging in there? Oh, Maggie Haberman, you con woman. You con woman in your stupid book. You are a con woman, and you have the nerve to write a book where you're calling the former president a con man, but you... And she may be right on that. I'm just saying, she is no better. Excuse me. Okay. So there we go. Let's jump into the chat room. Let's see what we have here. What have I missed? What are the things that y'all have been talking about that I have been missing? Howdy. Hello. Everybody saying hi. We'll move through that. A little dog talk. We talked about crazy dogs. Albert wonders if dogs can have Tourette syndrome. Maybe. I don't know. Jeff Glenn says you can have your dog's DNA tested fairly cheap. What are we going to find out? She was related to Lincoln. What are we? Oh, no, I guess that's genealogy. I guess that's not the same thing. Nice one, stupid. If I was 91-year-old Robert Wagner, I would just start answering that question. Natalie who? Yeah, why not? Apparently, I was talking about Jim Cramer. It's his birthday. Jon Stewart made Jim Cramer cry. I don't remember that, but okay. Okay. All right, a lot of sad talk about people getting crushed by vehicles because we were talking about it's Cliff Burton's birthday and Cliff Burton died. Metallica bassist. He died when the bus he was traveling in rolled over on him. Adam and I agree that Chloe Grace Moretz is a good little actress. We talked about Jan Michael Vincent, who died on this day, or was it his birthday? I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. but he beat up all of his ex-wives. Regarding Saget, blunt force trauma to the head is what killed him. He went to sleep too soon after banging his head. Word to you kids out there, you be careful. You bang your head. You don't go to sleep. I can see Saget being tired and falling backward onto the bed and smacking the headboard. And that's all she wrote. Yeah, maybe. Michael, I was talking about Kelly, my former partner who had herself a head wound a couple of years back. Michael says, didn't she do a show from a treadmill? Yeah, she did a whole 4-hour show from a treadmill. She wanted to see if she could do a whole show on the treadmill. And she did. And we got a sponsor, and it turned into a whole thing. I believe it was like some health club, Bally's or something like that. Now we get into the Chappelle talk. I don't want to revisit that. I'm gonna start referring to Byron as right-wing Byron or Byron Q. Granger. He saw a video where a guy swabbed the condensation from his Coke can and got a positive COVID test. I'm making fun of you, Byron, but I don't doubt it. I don't think that these tests are all that accurate. I think that there are a lot of false positives, false negatives. Jennifer says, my doctor told me that 1 in 6 COVID tests give false results. I am vaxxed and got really sick in September, but the test was negative. But my doctor said I was textbook COVID symptoms, so he treated me as a COVID positive. I quarantined, but I was still really sick for 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, the problem is that people, like, they're lying. The CDC is lying. Fauci's the devil. Dude, this is science. This is a new disease. This is a new thing. It's not, like I said, it's not math, okay? Numbers are absolute. This is not an absolute thing. Science is constantly evolving. People used to think, scientists used to believe the earth was flat. Were they lying? No, they were just wrong. They didn't know. New pieces of evidence come, and it changes what believed theory was in the past. We don't know, but it's like we want to believe everything they say is being absolute fact. And it's not. It's educated guess. These are the best people that we have to be able to make educated guesses. That's because they've trained their entire life in this. But some guy online, is not going to be someone that you should trust over a dude or a chick or a World Health Organization who this is what they do. And when they have to change a position that they've held, it's because science is always evolving. It is fluid. It is not math. They said we didn't have to wear masks. Well, that changed. They were wrong. Science is wrong all the time. It's a best guess game. That's what science is. I always like to think of how crazy it is, like the shit that we don't know now that we will know, like cell phones. I always think about cell phones. Like in 100 years, like, will people be like, can you believe people used to hold those things up to their heads? Oh yeah, they did it all the time. Or like earbuds. Can you believe that people used to stick those things right in their brain? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Like we could all start to die off, the phone generation. So we've had phones, smartphones for like 15 years now, right? So what if, like, if you were 30 when you got your first smartphone, what if all of a sudden that generation starts to die at like 65? People are like, this generation is not lasting long. And they're like, it's because of radiation waves from the phone. I'm not saying that's a thing. I'm just making up a hypothetical situation. We don't know. Science doesn't know nothing. They know nothing about nothing. It's just best guess. And you know why we trust them? Because we know even less about nothing than they do. They know more about nothing than us, and we know nothing about nothing. So it's the trust game. Well, I don't trust anyone. Oh, shut up. Every time you get in your car, you trust somebody. Every time you get in the car, you trust total strangers not to veer into your lane and kill you. We have no problem with that. I don't trust anybody. Yeah, you do. You do. We trust people every day for all kinds of things. We just take it for granted. Because if we didn't trust people, we'd be crazy. We'd be nuts. We'd be like complete whack jobs. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's see what we're doing. So we're back to the breaking news about Weasel Strip Club. Jeff says breaking news: Weasel Strip Club burned down in 2012. Now I gotta look this up. You didn't answer my question. I said, is that true? Oh, the friggin' dog. The dog is going nuts. Weasels. You know what? When you put weasels, the first thing that comes up is Weasels Wapaka, and that might be it. That might be Wapaka, Wisconsin. Oh, this looks like a new Weasels. Oh, this Weasels looks nice. Weasels of Wapaka. Is Weasels a strip club? No, this is Weasels. Weasels of Wapaka is a restaurant. This is not the same Weasels. Let's see here. Weasels Strip Club. I seriously, I gotta know if Weasels burned down. I don't know if Jeff was just kidding me and now he's not answering. There we go. Weasels. Eagle River. There it is. Oh, permanently closed. Maybe it did burn down. Yeah, this is it. Weasels. Eagle River, Wisconsin. Let's see, Weasels. Let's see if there's some news on Weasels. Oh, poor Weasels. Oh, well, Weasels. All right, I'm going to say that Jeff actually did find something. I don't know. I don't see a story, but yeah, Weasels. This is the one. Eagle River Weasels. Pastor Brian is probably comping his Dear Brooke letter as we speak. Look at that, Jeff, with a throwback to the Dear Brian story of the last couple of days. Steven says, wait, regarding Brook Shields, she was also nude in Playboy as a kid, right? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. You know what? That's why we have Google. Did Brook Shields do Playboy? Did Brooke? Not as a kid. No way. No way. I mean, in a movie, they can argue that it's art. Okay. Did Brook Shields do Playboy? Was Brook Shields photographed for Playboy at age 10? There you go. Truth or fiction? Okay, Snopes. Here we go. We'll go with Snopes. I can't imagine that Hugh would be okay with that. Was Brook Shields photographed? He had that clear line of 18. Everything over 18 was fine with him. Was Brook Shields photographed nude at 10 years old? Nude photographs of the American actress have been the source of controversy for decades. Yeah, not really. I mean, I remember that was a critically applauded movie. Claim. Playboy published nude photographs of 10-year-old Brook Shields. Okay, so I haven't read the thing yet. They may have, public photos from the movie in, talking about the movie, but it's not like Playboy went, hey, 10-year-old girl, let's do some sexy poses. True. All right, there you go. Let's see what this is. In 1975, photographer Gary Cross took several nude photographs of a 10-year-old Brook Shields that were later published in Playboy called Sugar and Spice. This series of photographs had been the source of... Okay, never mind. Everything I said was wrong. Fuck. Oh, my God. What was wrong with people in the 70s? What was wrong with our parents and our grandparents? What the hell, man? The girl in the background of this meme is indeed a naked 10-year-old Brook Shields, and the photograph was truly published by Playboy. Although this meme may have given some viewers the impression that the image appeared in Playboy magazine itself, the picture was actually featured in the Playboy press publication Sugar and Spice. Okay, so it wasn't in the magazine, it was in something else put out by Playboy Publications. Their kiddie porn wing. The above displayed photograph is one of many that took with the consent of Shields' mother, Terry Shields, in 1975. In 1981, with Sugar and Spice out of print. Oh my God, because what, a bunch of dudes bought it? Shields' profile on the rise. Shields sued the photographer, arguing that he should not be allowed to continue to profit from the images and that the photographs would cause her irreparable harm. How old was Brook Shields in Blue Lagoon? Because she was also naked in Blue Lagoon, and I don't know if she was 18. Hold on. Why am I so obsessed with this? Because it's gross. You know what? Put it away. We're done. I don't even want to go there. This is just not anything that I'm interested in. The 70s sucked. I don't want to hear about the good old days. Are you kidding me? She was 10 years old? Well, it's art. No. Stop it. Yeah, Stephen, I did. I looked it up, and it is unbelievable. Jeff Glenn says, yes, he found the Weasel story about Weasel's Gentleman's Club in Eagle River, Wisconsin, and he reported it. Unlike Maggie Haberman and Bob Woodward, who would have just saved that breaking news for their book. She was 15 in Blue Lagoon. Oh, my God. Blue Lagoon was a sex movie. It was about two teenagers who were stranded on an island, and they were... She was 15. I swear, I would have just assumed that she was 18. How do you... The remake of Blue Lagoon. Okay, they remade Blue Lagoon. When they remade it, did they have it at least be an 18-year-old playing a teenager? Let's see here. Blue Lagoon remake. All right. Oh, apparently, why do you keep pulling me back into this? What? Blue Lagoon Children. All right, 1980. I don't care. Okay, let's get out of this subject matter. This is some disturbing stuff. I don't care. Jennifer says there's a movie on Hulu called Stop and Go. It's about COVID when it first started. It's comedy and really funny. Seeing how we were when it first started was funny. Lysol and everything. Yeah, and wiping down wiping down all the groceries. Oh, we did all this stuff. They told us to do all of this stuff. All right, that's pretty much it. That's gonna be all, I think. I typically like to find a couple of new news stories that we can talk about at the end of the show, stuff that has been trending or popping during the course of me running through all the stuff I prepared for the morning. But because of the NBA trade deadline, it's just all about NBA minutia, and we really don't need to go into all of that stuff. So it's time for me to normalize John Hinckley. That's right. I have got my poetry. You're doing it to me. I wanted to move on, but here's Jeff Glenn back with some Brook Shields underage info. When Brook Shields' original nude body double broke her back, producers ended up asking a woman they had hired to catch and train dolphins if she was willing to do it because she was the right body type as Shields. She agreed and had no issues swimming naked. All right. See, you've just caused me a problem. The problem that you have caused me is that I'm trying to move away from this subject, but now I'm wondering if maybe she wasn't naked and it was a stunt double of someone who was over 18 years of age. And now I want to Google that, but I don't want to Google that because I just, you know what I want to do? I want to go, I want to make lunch, I want to listen to some sports radio, I want to get all caught up on the NBA trade deadline. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be looking for nude pictures of Brook Shields. I won't be doing that. Help me to be strong. I am like the dancing bear, trained to be the best. I just accidentally X'd out of a bunch of stuff. and the page that was left open is the page that's about how today is National Cream Cheese Brownie Day. And now I got that, which is better than having an obsessed mind running through wondering about Brook Shields and how old she was when I first saw her naked. That's good that that's gone, but it's been replaced by cream cheese brownies, which do not go hand in hand with my current diet. Oh, also another thing I wanted to talk about is that we need to watch for this during the Super Bowl. Apparently the American truckers are going to barricade the Super. I haven't been talking about the Canadian trucker thing because it's stupid. One, it's stupid. Two, it's Canada. I just don't care. But they're apparently going to try and do something at the Super Bowl. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes with the insane anti-terror stuff that they have set up for the Super Bowl. I don't. There ain't no trucks are going to be. Nope, it ain't going to happen. They're going to move that. The Super Bowl, an international incident with a bunch of Yahoo truckers. But that will be a good news story, to be a fascinating news story if that does actually happen. Like if something crazy like that happens on Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. Always had to be on guard. That is understood. It's understood, y'all. Byron Q. Granger, over and out. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to Jeff Glenn. Jeff Glenn apparently doesn't know he's talking to a fat man. He asked a question that is so ridiculous. To change the subject, did you know that cookies made from brownie mix are called brookies? Look at me, Jeff. Look at me. Do you think I don't know what a brookie is? Do you think that my love of cookies and brownies have never come together in the form of a brookie? Kroger, in their bakery section, will sell you a little thing of homemade brookies for like $2.99, and you get like 4 of them, and they're delicious. I don't need no 401. I don't have the greed. But you know what they look like? They look like a thin brownie with a smashed chocolate chip cookie on top. It's like it's like a brownie, and then like the rest of it looks like chocolate chip cookie. Brookie. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. Byron, look at Byron. Eat a Brookie Shields. He brought them both together. He said he could do it, and he did it. A Brookie Shields now combines the two things that I don't want to think about: a naked underage Brook Shields and brownies and cookies. Quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. The big problem that I'm having with my diet is that I get late at night, I just get this insatiable desire for something sweet, like cookies or chocolate or something like that. I don't have anything. I got apples, because when I go shopping, I'm like, well, when I need something sweet, these apples will do. They don't do. Apples don't do. Did you ever just like eat an apple at 1 o'clock in the morning because you're dying for a cookie and the only thing sweet you have is an apple? So you're just like, the apple sucks. I have. That's my life.
I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard.
That is understood. It's understood. It's understood.
Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest.
Dustin Seeley says, eat a date for something sweet. What is it? What is a date? Well, what is a date as it relates to a prune and a raisin? Like, what is it? Is a date like the thing, like a mid-sized raisin? What is a date? I don't. And do dates have pits? And what is a raisin? Is a raisin its own thing, or is a raisin just a grape that is like shriveled? These are the questions that I deal with.
I am on a never-ending quest.
All right, I gotta go. All right, bye everybody.
I am on a never-ending quest.
A grape, as it turns out, is a raisin. Sweet potatoes suck. Bye, everybody. I hate sweet potatoes. One of God's most infernal creations is the sweet potato French fry. You can just stuff that. I don't want anything to do. You know what?